Okay, so many of you watched the first of potentially two debates between former President Trump and current President Biden. That was on last week. And there was a lot of talk about this debate since then, mostly on the performances of both of these candidates. I'm going to skip the performance of both of these candidates. And I want to talk about, to me, what I think is more important for us as traders and for us as investors. So we've seen a lot of talk about last week's debate. Who's going to win in November? What companies, this is the more important question for those of you that are looking to spot opportunity. What companies stand to win? Which companies stand to lose based on the outcome of the presidential election? So we're going to take a look at two lists of stocks. All right, we're going to take a look at a list of stocks in a Biden win, and we're going to look at a list of stocks or a group of stocks in a Trump win and see what happened just after the election, and based on those patterns, what we could see happening as we get closer to, and more importantly, out of November. So let's go ahead and let's start with this. I'm sure everybody, if you didn't watch the debate live, then you had to have caught in this picture, sometime between last Thursday night and right now. Last week's debate, the one answer that I'm really interested in is what the markets did following the debate. So I want to show you something that we were looking at coming into this week. So coming into this week, I'm looking at the S&P top gainers, and I'm looking at the S&P 500 top losers, just for Friday's close. So here's what happened. Your winners included finance, Mohawk Industries, which is materials, United Healthcare, finance, United Rentals, again, materials, finance. Financials definitely 8 out of 10 won across the board. They had big numbers that went as on the gain side. What happened on the lose side? Well, there was a lot of different areas in the losers. But one thing was apparent when I looked past Walt Disney and Meta Platforms. I saw Nextra Energy on here. I saw Quanta. I saw Enphase. And so there's some clean energy over on the right-hand side that definitely lost percentage points following the debate, which got me thinking and doing a little bit of research. What sectors and what companies stand to win if President Biden gets reelected? And what companies and what sectors stand to win if Trump gets reelected for a second term? So let's go through and let's talk about each of those. So if Biden were to get reelected, I would expect a double down on clean energy, solar, for instance, wind, water. I would expect a double down on electricity and EV vehicles, for instance. And I would expect a double down on cannabis stocks. So these are the top stocks that not just picked by me, but other experts out there expect these kind of stocks to move to the upside if Biden were to be reelected. First, solar's on here, all right? The clean energy ETF. Also Grid, which is another clean energy ETF. Rivian's on here. Enphase Energy, Tesla, Nextra, Tilray, Trulieve, right? These are what they feel are 10 of the top stocks that could benefit if Biden were reelected. Now, of these 10 stocks and ETFs, only 6 of them are optionable. And if you know me, I follow optionable stocks. Now, what I did was I ranked these, 7, not 6, 7. We found another one in here recently, and I failed to update on that on the screen. So of these 7, I ranked these by strongest to weakest in terms of year-to-date moves. So going back to the beginning of the year, if you were to run the low for the year and the high for the year, where are we right now? If low was at 0 and high was at 100, Nextra Energy comes in at around 63%. So what that means is that If we have a low score of 0, we have a high score of 100, that Nextra year to date is running at about 63% off of its low, right? For solar, 53, Tesla Motors, 50. Tesla Motors is right in the middle. It's right in between its year-to-date low and its year-to-date high. Then you've got Rivian, iShares Clean Energy, Enphase Energy, and Tilray's all the way down there at the bottom. Enphase and Tilray have really been hurt hard this year. The others, I mean, even the iShare, the clean energy move has been down. But do you see a pattern here? Most of these stocks are at or below the halfway mark. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. But Nextra is the top dog in the Biden, quote unquote, stocks. And so what does Nextra look like on a chart? Here's what Nextra looks like. Here's that low, right? Year-to-date low down here in the mid-50s. Here's the year-to-date high at 80. And here's where we currently are right now. Look at that red candle. That red candle happened the day after. That was Friday. That was Friday's move after the presidential debate. So you saw that big move down. But this is the top performing stock of the group of 10, which then became 7 that I've just shown you in Biden camp. So if you believe that Biden's going to be reelected, then you might want to pay attention to not only those 7 stocks, but this stock right here, because I like strength, right? I'm not a big fan of buying the weakest thing out there. It's weak for a reason, but I like strength. And Nextra Energy is the strongest in this sector. Now let's take a look at if Trump were to be reelected for a second term. So if he wins, I'm expecting a resurgence in oil and gas, banks, automotive, and healthcare. So these are the stocks that come up when you look at those 4 sectors. You got Chevron and Exxon. You got LNG, that's Cheniere Energy. Wells Fargo's on here, Regents Financial, Capital One's on here as well. All right, you've got General Motors, I believe Ford's on here too, and Tesla and United Healthcare. Now Tesla's on here. I'll talk about that one in a moment. But if I were to take those 10 stocks, if I were to take those 10 stocks and rank them, now I want you to take a look at these 10 stocks. All but one is at or above its 50% mark. ConocoPhillips is the only one down there at the bottom at 28.02%. But everything else, with Tesla Motors down there at number 9, is at the 50% mark, just above it. But then you've got Chevron, UNH, Regents Financial, ExxonMobil, Ryder System, and I'm working my way up. Wells Fargo, General Motors, and then look at Cheniere Energy. With a 100, that means that Cheniere Energy is at its year-to-date high as we speak. Let's take a look at that stock. You can see what happened. Look at the last couple weeks. I mean, if this were the year-to-date low, and it certainly looks like it is, we just came off that year-to-date low at the end of May. We bounced close to it just a couple weeks ago. And look where it's gone since then. Big move to the upside there. For what I call the strongest, quote unquote, Trump stock, LNG, right? So what are some takeaways here? Well, number one, it's still a long way in November, guys. And when it comes to politics, anything goes. But the Trump stocks seem to be stronger this year than the Biden stocks. So is the market telling us something? Again, time will tell. Now, here's another interesting thing that I have, which is number 2. Tesla's on both lists. And I believe that Tesla benefits, and a lot of other people believe this too. Tesla benefits no matter who's elected. Tesla's only risk is itself, all right, its CEO and founder, and its competition. And I believe that that's kind of, some of that's out of the way right now, that pay package went through for Elon Musk. So I think that the big uncertainty is now gone. And the final thing I'll mention to you is this. Pattern traders, we see beyond politics. It is hard not to get caught in the minutia, not to get caught in the emotion around this election. You got to pull yourself back from that. You got to think like a pattern trader, okay? Politicians don't make patterns. Companies make patterns. And we want to look at those companies, we want to look at them with an objective trading view.